Hello, how do you file Form 941 for 2025 quarter 2 if no wages are paid? So if you do not have the form in your record, you can just go to irs.gov and you type Form 941 and you make sure you click on that search icon and you download the form, you download the instructions, and you might want to save them and then make a copy of the form to use. That way every quarter you just go back to your document and get the form again, or each time you are going to file for the quarter, you can go to IRS website and file and download the latest version they have there. But yeah, the latest version will be the one that will show on the page if there is an update made to it. So just make sure you have the latest version and you can see the revision there. But anyway, so if you didn't pay wages to an employee or yourself, if you are an LLC, that's as an S corp, or you are an S corp, you are an employee of your business, you are working in the business. So if you didn't pay wages, you for a quarter, you'll file a zero tax return. So and that's what we are going to do here. If you have a zero tax return to file, how you'll file it. So you make sure you put your business EIN identification, employee identification number on the form. You put your business legal name, that's the name you put on your EIN application form. And here in this example, we are going to put a name here. If you have a trade name, you will use the trade name, and we are going to put a trade name here. And just make sure you do not put the trade name for the name section. It's for they call it legal name for your business. It's the name you put on the EIN application form. So it will be on the SS4 you will get from IRS when they are answering you back regarding your EIN application. And then you'll put your business address, city, state, and the zip code. In this session, you will choose the quarter you are filing for. You are now going to select all those quarters on one form, only one per quarter, only one form per quarter, so or one quarter per form. If all of them are zero tax return, you'll file 4 of them if you start your business, from the beginning of the year. Like your business went through all those quarters and you are required to file Form 941 for it, you'll file it even if you don't have employees or you didn't pay wages. It'll just be zero tax return. So this one we are filing it for quarter 2, April, May, June. Is due by July 31st. So we'll select that, and you'll notice that we didn't select quarter 1 on this one, just quarter 2, because quarter 1 should have been filed by now, because it's due by April 30th. So now we will scroll down, and part 1, number of employees who receive wages during this quarter, it's going to be 0. So on this form, there are some lines you leave them blank if the answer is 0, and there are some lines you'll put 0 if the answer is 0. And those lines are line 1, line 2, and line 12. You'll add 0 to those lines. The rest you leave them blank. So line 2, wages, tips, and other compensation. Again, you didn't pay anything for this quarter, is going to be 0. But because you do not round numbers, they recommend you add the decimal. We are going to add 00 for that 0 as well. So federal income tax withheld. Since there is no wages paid, they will not be federal income tax withheld on it. We are just going to leave it blank because it's not in the requirement of the lines that you need to add 0, but the answer is 0. If no wages, tips, or other compensation are subject to Social Security, you check that box and you go to line 6 by leaving line 5 blank. Again, we'll do that in line 6, total tax before adjustment, which is the sum of line 3, line 5, and line 5 and line 5F. So line 5E, line 5F. We will just put, we are not going to put anything there because it's 0. So we leave it blank. So there are some adjustments due to rounding that if there is such adjustment, it'll go to line 7, but here it's going to be blank. Adjustment for sick leave, we leave it blank because it might be 0. Current quarter adjustment for tips or life insurance, we leave it blank. So total tax after adjustment for line 10 is going to be line 6, 7, 8, 9. Total together is going to be 0 in this section. We leave it blank. Line 11 is a credit. If that credit is applicable to your business, you can read more about it. File the form 8974 to see if you are eligible for that. But it's a non-refundable credit, and since we have 0, 0 there, chances that it might just be 0 as well. But again, you can read more about it, and it's good to download the instruction, read through it, highlight things that is you find interesting, so that later when you go back, you can just go to those sections and reference those. So line 12, total tax after adjustment and non-refundable credit, which is line 10 minus line 11. Total tax minus credit will give you line 12, and this is going to be 0. And that is a line that is good to put 0 there. It's recommended you put 0. Total deposit for this quarter and other overpayment. So we are going to leave it blank. If you didn't make any deposit for it, and there is no overpayment from prior quarter that you want to apply toward this quarter, balance due is going to be line 12 minus line 13 is going to be 0. And because you do not owe tax, you didn't make any deposits, you don't owe tax, they don't owe you tax, so they don't owe you money. So therefore line 14 and 15 usually is either one, either they owe you or you owe them. So but we are going to leave those blank in this section since line 12 is 0. So we'll go to part 2 of page 2 for form 941, and here you'll put your legal name again, your business identification number, and line 16. You have three options here. If your line 12 is less than 2,500, so that means if it's up to 2,499, which it falls under that bracket, that income, that tax liability bracket, because it's 0, you will check that line 16, and that's what we are going to do here. And then we'll go to part 3. If your business has closed or stopped paying wages, you'll check that, and then you'll add the last date that you pay wages. If that's the case, you can scroll to, I think we are right there as well. And you can read more about it to see information related to it, and follow the instructions. Otherwise you leave it blank. So if you are a seasonal employer, there are some quarters that you do not have employees, you'll check line 18. But then you can read the instruction to see how you qualify for that option. That just tells IRS that you are now going to file Form 941 for each quarter of the year, and when you file it, you are required to check the quarter that return is for, and then you'll check that box 18 to let them know that there might be a quarter you may not file for. Otherwise, they will expect a return from you every quarter, even if it's a zero tax return. You can read more about it as well to see if let me see. Let's go a little bit faster to see if your business model falls under the qualification. Otherwise, you leave a blank. You just file a zero tax return every quarter. Part 4. Should IRS speak with someone related to this return, this particular return, and this quarter? For this quarter, we are going to select no. If they want some information, they might just contact you, the owner. So therefore, we are going to select that. But if you select yes, you'll add that information there. Part 5, you'll add your name if the business is yours. So here we can just have an example here, and then you'll add your title as well. You'll add your phone number, and you review the document, you print it out, you sign your date. If somebody is filing it for you, if you are a tax preparer, you are filing it for somebody else and you are getting paid, then you will complete the pay preparer use only session with your information and your PTN information. But if you are filing it for your own business, you will now complete this session. If an employee of your business is filing it for your business, you do not complete this session because you are not paying them to file this return. You are paying them for working in your business. Therefore, you leave that session alone. But if you are filing it for a client, you are getting paid for it, you make 2 copies. You review, print it out, sign, the client sign, you make 2 copies. One for your record, one for the business owner to record, and the original one to be mailed to IRS. Other than that, you leave the pay preparer use only session alone. So you leave a blank. So the voucher, because you don't owe any tax, you are filing a zero tax return, the voucher will be blank as well. You do not print it out. So that last page, you do not print it out. You print page 1 and page 2 of Form 941. You staple those 2 pages together. And again, if you're filing it for your business, you review it, you sign it, you make a copy for your business record, and then you staple that page 1 and page 2 together. You sign your dates, you make a copy for your business record, and you staple those 2 pages together, and you put it in an envelope. And where will you mail it to? So you'll go back to the instruction, and page 7, you'll find the address there, and you'll first locate your state, which row your state is listed on. And then, because it is a zero tax return and you are now completing the voucher, you are now adding payment to the payment to the form, you will choose without a payment : address that correspond to the line your state is listed, and you copy that address to your envelope and you mail it via USPS. certified mail to have a tracking number to track it online. And you just make sure you mail it by the due date so that they receive it by the due date by preference, and it's due by July 31st. So that will cover April, May, June payrolls. And that is how you will file Form 941-0 tax return for quarter 2. Thank you so much for your time. If you are wondering who can sign this document, it's toward the end as well. You can read through it to see if you are not available to sign, who is eligible in your business to sign it for you. And that is the person's names that will be on the form, and by preference it will be who is agree with the information put on the form. So that person's name, title will be on the form, and signature as well. So thank you so much for your time. We thank you very much for watching our videos. We thank you very much for your time. We thank you very much for all your comments, and we thank you very much all that subscribe to our channel. I'm Afiavi Liberman, creator of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel, and ninasoap.com, our blog. On our channel and on our blog, we share different ways to save money and different ways to make money to reach your financial independence, where you do not depend on an employer to provide for your family. And filing your own business tax return is one way to save money in your business, especially at the beginning when your business is not generating a lot of revenue and you want to keep your business expenses low. You might take the time to understand the different tax return required for your business and see if you can file them yourselves. That way, that will allow you to understand how to track the financial data that will be used to file the return. And over time, as your business grows, you don't have time to file those returns. If you pay a tax preparer to file it for you, you'll know what kind of data to give them for them to be able to file the return for you. Because once you sign the return, that means you agree with the whatever is being reported to IRS on your behalf. So providing the right information to the preparer allows them to be able to file the return for you accurately as well, and be able to know how to track those financial data throughout the year. Allows you to to have those numbers ready on hand, that when they are needed, you have them to rely on. And again, that just is as important as running the business as well, because those may not be things that make you money, but they are important for the survival of your business. Being on time with your state and your federal returns, so that you do not have issue and stress about it as well. Those things will pull your attention away from your business when you are stressed over those returns and things like that. So thank you so much for your time.